What's going on, everybody? I wanted to jump on and talk to you about a client that I met with earlier this week. And I think a lot of people are in the situation where they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur or I want to do something else, but they're in their 9 to 5 or they just need the funds to get it started off. And their 401k is a great place to source those funds. But the problem is that most people can't access their 401k while they're still employed, which is why this layoff situation is a gift in disguise for a lot of people. So anytime you're transitioning jobs, you're looking at retiring or you get laid off, maybe it's that gentle nudge that you were looking for because you have taken all this time to think about what you're going to do and figure out what the next step is, or just kind of peek over the ledge and not made that decision. So once you get access to those funds, then it truly becomes a golden parachute. But when you retire or when you get laid off, or if you're in between jobs, your 401k becomes that safety net that it was while you were working, because now you can access it. They can no longer prevent you from accessing it. So now you can use those funds to get out of debt, to start that job, to do whatever it is that you always looked at it and wish you could do, but you shied away from because of penalty, which is one of the reasons that I don't really believe in it, because why would you part with your funds unnecessarily and expose them to risk? I call the 401k the IRS's waiting room, similar to they call the nursing home heaven's waiting room. And I think that really applies to your money in regards to the IRS. But this particular client got laid off. She had 3 months severance pay, which is pretty generous. 3 months severance pay. She's getting paid for another month. She has a side wealth builder plan and a 401k as well. So in total, she's going to have about, we figured after taxes, about an $80,000 windfall, give or take. Now, luckily, she already has a policy, but even if you don't have a policy, this is a great time to set up a policy. And when I say set up a policy, it's the policy that you can borrow from, that everybody's talking about, not an IUL, because there you're parting with your money and you can't access it right away. They tell you not for 5 to 7 years. And a lot of people will tell you to roll it over into another deferred tax account, another deferred retirement account, which doesn't make sense either, because then you're in the same boat where you can access 5 to 10%. And anything above that, you're going to receive a penalty if you're younger than 59 and a half, or if you are above 59 and a half, you're still going to have limited access to it. So that specially designed whole life policy does a couple of things. It gives you insurance first and foremost, which everybody needs. Everybody needs life insurance because nobody wants their family in one of the toughest times of their life to always also have to worry about where the money's going to come from or how to replace that income, because that's your capital, if you will. And insurance is the best place to multiply your money. It's the only place where you can put something in and get an exponent out, or a larger sum or a multiplier of whatever you put in out. So if you don't already have a policy, it's a great time to establish one because it protects your money. It's the closest thing to insuring your money that you can do. You can insure your car against loss. You can insure your house against loss. You can insure your cell phone against loss. And a lot of people look at it as insuring your life against loss, but it's also a way to steward and insure your money against loss. Hands down, the closest thing to insuring your money that you'll ever get. And that's why the wealthy use life insurance, because they can park it there and then they can still use the money without disrupting the growth. So it's working for you inside of the insurance policy, and you can take it to, in this case, fund your lifestyle. You can take it to pay down some debt. You can just use it as a float, or you can just steward it there and use it as a glorified savings account, because unlike a savings account, it grows tax-free as opposed to the 1099 that they're going to give you in your high yield savings account. That's not really high yield. And also, God forbid something happened to you, if you only put $30,000 in, to have $30,000 in your savings account, that $30,000 in your insurance policy is going to buy you, I would say, on a very modest, $500,000 worth of life insurance. So God forbid something happened to you while you're still growing that $30,000, accumulating assets, executing on investment strategies, what have you, that insurance policy, if you don't make it there, is going to pay out $500,000, which is what you were trying to build to anyway, is that safety net or that parachute for you in retirement and for your family. The other great thing about this, if you're using it to transition into retirement, it's a great way to to minimize the taxes as you draw down from that retirement account. Because let's say you have $500,000 in your retirement account. As you spend that money down, you're just dwindling down that legacy. So that money was set aside, yes, for your retirement, but a portion of it, I would argue, was also set aside for your loved ones so that when you passed on, you had something to leave them, your legacy. But if as we spend it down, we run it through insurance, now we're still spending it down. We're minimizing the amount of taxes because we're running it through the policy first and it's growing. So now we're offsetting that tax burden that we create because it's counting as income. And then we're creating that tax-free windfall in addition to whatever's left. So now, like we said earlier, that money that you run through the policy is buying insurance. So now you multiplied your money by buying insurance dollars and you have whatever's left in that retirement account in the event that something happens. So there's a number of reasons that it works for you. But in this particular case, we're going to take that money and use it to fund her already existing policy. Now she has a loan out. So the first thing that we're going to do is pay the loan back. So we're going to pay all the loan back because it just gives her access to that money all over again. So we're going to pay the loan back. And then once we pay the loan back, we're going to borrow from those funds to pay off her credit card debt. And the reason that we're going to pay off her credit card debt is because that credit card debt is accruing at 18 to 28%. And the loan rate in the policy is 6.5%. The other great thing about it is that when she's moving those funds from her insurance policy to pay off the credit card had, not only did it charge an inordinate amount of interest, but it also had a monthly payment, a minimum monthly payment, and a due date. So now she's out of work. So if we get rid of that, now she can truly control her cash flow because she doesn't have to pay back her policy ever, but she definitely doesn't have to pay it month over month. And they're definitely not going to say, we need you to pay this amount or we're going to surrender or cancel your policy. So she has complete control over that payback strategy. She can pay back however much she wants, whenever she wants. Now, I do recommend you pay at least the interest annually so that the interest doesn't compound on you and start to work against you. But that principal that you borrowed, you never have to pay it back. So once we pay back her loan with that windfall that comes from her severance, her 401k, her other retirement account, and her vacation payout, which I didn't mention earlier, once we shift that money to pay off the credit cards and put it back to pay off the loan, we're going to look at what she has left over and determine whether or not we're going to pay off the car. Because again, she has income, but we also want to keep a cushion there so that she can float herself and not have to sacrifice her mode of living while she looks for another job or while that business starts to generate cash flow. So we leave a cushion. Again, remember we started with 80,000. Her loan was about 20,000. So we take 20,000 to pay off the loan in the policy. So now she has 60,000 liquid, no outstanding loan in her policy. So now we're going to take the 20,000 back out of her policy and pay off the credit card debt. So now we exchanged 18 to 28% for 6.5%. So now she still has 60,000 liquid. So that 60,000 liquid, now we're going to replenish that loan that she took out. So now she has $40,000 liquid, which is where we're going to leave it until she gets a job. Now she still has a car loan. So maybe we pay off the car loan. Maybe we just leave it and then reassess it when she does get another job and get another income stream. But we don't have to pay back that $20,000 that we pulled out to pay off the credit card. And she still has $40,000 liquid to maintain her lifestyle until she finds another job. Now, that is, we'll just say that she makes $5,000 a month. That's 8 months worth of income before she even has to worry about it. And even still, if she was to go through that 8 months worth of income that she has liquid, she can still borrow from her insurance policy without having to pay it back. And then when she gets a job and gets back on her feet, we can look at replenishing the insurance policy, the money that she borrowed from the insurance policy, if she did have to borrow more funds from it, and then just wash, rinse, repeat. So it really is a Swiss Army knife, the gift that keeps on giving, truly creating leverage because your money is always working for you in multiple places. We talked about using it to pay off her credit card debt. Then we talked about using it to pay off her car. We talked about using it to float her lifestyle while she's still looking for another job or thinking about starting that entrepreneur endeavor. Regardless of which way you slice it, it's the best way to steward funds because if she had in a savings account and borrow from that savings account, it's no longer working for you. They're not paying you interest on money that you withdrew from your savings account. So if we put it into an insurance policy and she has a son, not only does it give her a significant windfall in the event that something happens to him, but it also gives her living benefits so that God forbid something happened to her, that he doesn't have to sacrifice his lifestyle. She doesn't become a financial burden on somebody else, and she's not depleting what's left of the 60,000 or $40,000, whatever is left. So it's really the greatest place to store money. It's the greatest thing hidden in plain sight. And it's really the only way that you can store money and access it within 30 days so that you're not waiting until down the line. You're not putting yourself in harm's way, where you can access your funds within 30 days to continue your lifestyle. It's just like a pay cycle. I mean, you wait every 2 weeks or bi-monthly or however often you get paid, weekly or whatever. So you storing the money there is just a pay cycle within a pay cycle. So you're really controlling your own funds, becoming your own bank, infinite banking, however you want to slice it. Participating whole life is the only way to do it, because those other vehicles don't have the consistent growth that this has that you can depend on. You may have a zero in those other vehicles, which works against you in this case, especially if you have an outstanding loan and you don't have access to your money within 30 days. Again, they tell you 5 to 7 years or something inordinate like that, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you don't know any better, then you don't know to do better. And if you don't know what questions to ask, then you may look at that as a great opportunity when that really should just be a secondary option, never your primary option, because who's in a position to part ways with capital? And if you are in a position to part ways with capital, it's because you know what to do with capital. So the duality of your money, having it work in two places at the same time, is even better for you in this situation than that other vehicle, regardless of the upside. If anything, put it here first, borrow from here, put it there. And then when you can borrow from there, you can go do other things with it. But it really works at every level. If this is something that makes sense to you, you want to have a conversation about it, you have questions, feel free to DM me or comment bank on this video, and we will get you some information on exactly how it works. And if you want to have a conversation about what this looks like for your specific situation, because you did get laid off, because you're retiring, because you're a business owner, you're saving for your child's college, you really want to make $1 million baby, or you just want to be the better steward of your funds, then just reach out. I'm here to help. No obligation. I just want to make sure that you get the information that you need. And once you get the information, you can make an informed decision and we can build from there. Be well. Have a great evening.